is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks at Stockton Con.
What up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, the voice and the host of Stockton Con. The value of wrestling is awesome, so subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's what. Hey, man, shout out to Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We gonna shut the shit down. Love and respect, though, right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, you better get ready to know, because we're back. We're back with the Value Wrestling, with your weekly roundup podcast right here on YouTube. It is the 37th episode, I believe. We got 37 of these in the can, gentlemen. Isn't that impressive? We are here. This is for the week of April 14th to April 20th. Yes, 420 was yesterday. I hope everybody enjoyed their 420 day. We know that some people did it really, really well. And we are here to cover everything in this wrestling. So much to seem to talk about. And we're also going to cover up our Dynasty. We are going to predict or give our predictions or our thoughts on what will happen on Dynasty coming up tonight. And, of course, we will be here live with a post-show review to go over all the details of what actually happened on Dynasty. My bad, Dynasty. I think I said Dynamite like 5 times in a row. Dynasty coming out tonight. We're going to review all that. We're going to talk about it. Dynasty is the pay-per-view tonight for AEW. So we're going to sit through that 8 hours of hell, I'm sure. But, hey, you know, at least the in-ring work should be good stuff. Pay-per-views seem to be a little better than the TV shows. But, hey, we're going to do it. And, kind of wondering why things don't seem to be coming up. They're going there. I'm leaning off camera. I'm going to stay on camera a little more. Anywho, what a week, gentlemen. What a week. I guess Tony Khan got to have real competition last night. He went 3 hours of collision with, 2 hours of collision with an hour of Rampage, 3 hours of AEW TV. Going head-to-head with TNA Rebellion. I know Mr. Clarke was really tuned into this show. I think me and Mr. Z were just kind of catching after things here in bits and pieces. But TNA really came out, I don't know if I would say guns a-blazing, but I mean, I think they took some great moments there with the return of Sami Callihan. And there was somebody else Mike Santana. Yes, Mike Santana made the big return. And, of course, we got Broken Matt Hardy making his return to TNA. So it's great to see those big names returning with some of the other stuff going on. Of course, there's some questionable moments, some things that happen in TNA that, you know, you've got to take with a grain of salt at CNA. But it looks like Tony Khan was at least willing to put up a little competition with his only competition, and that would be TNA, because he's not on the level with WWE. And you just got to, whether you like it or not, he could be considered by Forbes, by Sports Illustrated, by whomever as the second wrestling company in the world, and that's fine. But he's
by
not
a long shot.
Yeah, no, there's a big difference, and he's not on the level of WWE just because he's number 2. Number 1 is like we're in one of those 50K runs, and WWE's at the 25 mark, while AEW's still trying to get past the 5K mark. Just saying. But TNA, I guess, a decent show. Bits and pieces, of course. Broken Matt Hardy's returning. Mike Santana finally finding a place. And it's always good to see Sami Callihan. I don't know if Sami Callihan would have ever been anything. He might be better nowadays in WWE than when he came up through NXT. He just really never found that groove. And, of course, Mike Santana, I think TNA is the best place for him. I don't know if WWE right now, where he would fit in, if he could fit in, unless you brought in a third group of a Latin aspect into WWE. Could be interesting.
Punk the LWO, Punk.
Oh, but that's right. Triple H is putting people by race in their group, so we got to be careful about that, because that might be.
According to this one person on X. Yeah.
According to some people, Triple H is segregating people into groups, and it's like, no, this is not what you're seeing.
Because that's what the
Anyways.
day is, right?
Yes, exactly.
Man, I was
And
gonna say
and
you brought up Mike Santana. He's got his new shirt out now, the Realist, the return of the Realist, Mike Santana. That's a solid shirt. I might get it. That's actually not bad.
is it his shirt through its own brand, or is it a TNA based shirt?
It's a TNA based shirt, but
Okay.
they're promoting it. So that's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of these wrestlers have their own gear on, you know, Pro Wrestling Tees and other places that you could buy, and then they have their branding through the company. So
Yeah.
And
now,
but wouldn't the former what's his name? He calls himself Real One now. Kaz's
Enzo?
former partner. Thank you.
Yeah.
Enzo,
Wouldn't Enzo have a problem with that?
Where is Enzo?
He has a school that I know he teaches.
trying to stay relevant, but sometimes
I
doing
think
it.
he does independence here and there, but
Hey, I
Right,
was
this-
speaking of Enzo, I was at that Survivor Series that he got kicked out of.
He's
That
trying
was
to.
funny.
He's trying to stay relevant and doing just a slightly better job than Feed Me More Booch.
hey,
Where
I'd
is
rather
he?
take
Did
Enzo
he
than
finally
that fool.
retire?
Oh,
I haven't
who?
seen him in a minute.
Feed Me More? He's still
Well,
out
he
there
talks about it
crying.
all the time.
Oh,
He's
okay,
crying
I
about.
don't pay attention.
He's still crying over Punk. He cried about how Punk. He twisted that whole video where Punk had just attacked a poor innocent Jack Perry, and I'm like, no. You could see that Jack Perry was conversating with Punk and said something that set Punk off. Let alone, can we go back to what initiated this? Jack Perry not wanting to listen to anybody to use real grass, and Punk told him not to. And then when we got to the pay-per-view on the 0 hour, here's Jack Perry, and he decides to pop off with the mouth going, "Cry me a river, nah, it's real glass." So regardless of whatever happened backstage, it was still Jack Perry had his role in playing it.
Bluff around and find out.
Wah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Anyways, TNA giving us a good solid rebellion for what they are. People are a little worried about what's going to happen with TNA. They seem to still be floating around. Again, it's the cockroach that's never going to die.
Hey, I was surprised Nick Nemeth didn't win the title last night, okay? I was shocked. But when I saw the aftermath, I'm like, okay, I see where we're going. I see what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not as mad.
Well, is Nick Nemeth like a full-time thing for TNA, or is he a New Japan guy, or is he just a roaming
He
free
is
agent?
both.
Yeah,
He is
okay.
like Sam Callahan, who is both now TNA again, but still working with MLW.
Now, Broken Matt Hardy himself has stated that he has not signed with TNA, that he's doing this appearance, so he's still
It's
a free
pre-appearance
agent.
thing now.
He's still popping up here and there. I think he's in a holding pattern. I think he's wanting to do more with the Broken Matt Hardy character than to be Matt Hardy. I don't see the Broken Hardy gimmick doing anything in AEW at this point.
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
agree.
see where it fits. The only thing I could say is maybe he's starting to bring back the Broken Matt Hardy gimmick, because maybe they want to use it in WWE, because we know there's a big group supposedly coming back. We're getting a lot of teases. Matt Hardy's even played into that tease. Of course, he's a very calculated person. Matt Hardy's always been really good about being that, how to troll on everybody and keep his name relevant by saying, "Oh, whoa, I could be here, I could be there, I could be everywhere."
Right.
Hey, real quick. I mean, we talk about returns or going to different places. Did you guys catch that Mansoor and Mace went to Uganda
Yes,
and did a
I
match
saw
out
it.
there? That's, I don't know what they're doing out there, but it's getting attention. It's great.
Oh, you don't know about? Oh,
I've
Soft
seen
Round Wrestling?
videos. Yes,
That's-
and it's great.
I don't think it's Big Tyme's thing, but for a lot of wrestling fans who are just the pure wrestling, like what is this at heart, these are the type of fans that like backyard wrestling, that like, that want to do more once they can get to that point.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fans who do enjoy this kind of content. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, and let's. I'll make a note there. Mansoor, graduate of Stoner Bros University, out of Hood Slam. I mean, went to WWE, did his thing, and then now he's touring the world. Good for him.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. In fact, they're still calling themselves maximum male models. They're still
Yes.
they're still out there. I mean, they can just do, as long as there's no trademark problems,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want and they will still be over.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like it.
no.
I caught wind of it and I was like, "That's great! This is great."
I've seen the video footage. I'm like, it is what it is. I guess if that's what you like, yeah, that's what you like. So good for them. I mean, you know.
I guess
But
Kenny Omega said he might want to make a trip out there too. So that's what
There
kind
are
of brought me
certain
into it.
wrestlers who are making contributions to help them get a ring, to help them get an actual promotion going beyond what they already have, to get it more professionalized, if you will.
that's a good thing. That's definitely something. You know, if wrestlers are getting involved to help them bring it up from what they're at right now, then that's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the idea of global wrestling reaching, and a lot of that has to do with WWE and some of the other companies that have made a global footprint on the world, and especially the internet. I mean, this is the whole reason when you get into the Middle East that WWE is so big and why they're going into Saudi Arabia, because YouTube, and got around the world, and now we're exploring these different places. And then wrestling was big in India. That's why a lot of these Indian stars were brought in, and unfortunately, we know about the releases this week. Xia Zion Quinn, and then Jinder Mahal, and then this year all released. And it's sad. We don't want to see anybody go, but Jinder, and then this year, I don't think WWE really knew what to do with them. Hopefully they can go out on the independent scenes and remake their names. Maybe they can take something up in TNA. Hopefully they don't go to AEW, and I don't think these are names that Tony Khan's going to be really jumping on. Maybe if he can get them at a good value, but I don't know if they would do anything. I think TNA, this would be a good setup to give these guys something.
TNA should bring back Rinka King. That was their Indian promotion, if you will.
We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. Xia Li, I think she'll be fine. Where she goes, who knows? Zion Quinn is still fairly young, so he'll probably be just fine too. Not like anybody in the WWE big name got released. I mean, I get everybody's like Jinder Mahal. That's a big name. It's not like he hasn't been released before and came back. So, I mean, Jinder's Jinder.
I made a similar post on X earlier today. I felt like, one, they could have got more mileage out of Jinder, but there's the possibility they can make themselves something bigger just out of going out in the wrestling world, non-WWE. So, I mean, like you just said, Jinder's been back and forth before. There's a possibility. You never know when any of them will be brought back. Because the biggest thing with those three specifically being let go is the fact that they were never really given a chance because they were under Redacted's control. We haven't seen them really booked under Triple H. So we don't know if that would be good or not.
Yeah.
I mean, for all we know, this could have been, Xia Li and Zion Quinn. Hey, go away, learn a new hold, and we'll talk business later. Especially Zion Quinn, young talent, can definitely make waves on the indies, and potentially come back.
There's a lot of growth there. I mean, I think Xia Li's presentation was mid. I think they were trying to do something. It just didn't connect with the crowd. I don't know how well. I know Street Fighter keeps hanging around in there, and Mortal Kombat keep making comebacks, but I don't know how well related that is into WWE.
I don't know, because Glacier's still out there. He's still wrestling.
Right?
Well, but he built his name earlier on, so I think it's just the fan base that knows who he is that already makes that connection,
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
I guess we can get into the Nyla Rose controversy with the state of Oklahoma Commission Board, and I mean, Mr. Clarke kind of touched on this briefly, but I think the big part is you can't hate on a state for what a part of the commission legislation. That's the only thing I'm really mad about. And the other aspect, I blame Tony Khan because, I mean, they should have been truthful in the application. He's supposed to know the rules and regulations within all these states and cities. That's his job, or at least have somebody that knows their job doing it. If they're not doing it, then it really falls on Tony Khan. I think we're in a day and age, let whoever wrestle whoever. I mean, it's all semantics in the aspect of like, if Nyla Rose out there, she's part of the women's AEW women's division, and she's wrestling other women. Who cares at this point? What they classify her as she's out there, she's wrestling. Let's just get wrestling. I don't think people care enough in wrestling to worry about it as much. Go ahead, Mr. Clarke. I see.
Here's what I want to know: why does the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission care about something that's predetermined? Now, if we were making this about actual sports, okay, I can see the argument better. But the fact that we're talking about professional wrestling that you know is entertainment, that you know is predetermined, why are you worried about it? Why do they have a say?
I was gonna say maybe this is me, throwing stuff at the wall. Maybe it could be insurance based too. You never know.
Well, I mean, you've got to get into a political aspect when you start looking at this and ideas. Oklahoma being a red state, being very conservative, the ideology of she was once a man and now she's a woman and she's competing with women, and the controversy that's going into that on many different areas for different reasons, it makes it a lot of diluted. And so I'm sure these laws were put in place by a very conservative state, which is the overall feeling of the state of Oklahoma. These were the regulations to keep it equal, keep it fair, because we're basing it on that men and women genetically are made differently, yada yada yada. We can get down a real deep hole, and I really don't want to get onto that in this channel. But the aspect is you got to understand the state of Oklahoma is kind of a more conservative. It's part of the Bible Belt, Bible thumping. I'm not saying their religious ideas are the affecting of saying, I'm just saying that it's the way Oklahoma kind of runs. There's changes in some of these cities in Oklahoma. Tulsa has a big conservative population. It's making a lot of changes. So,
Okay.
Mr. Clarke.
Yeah.
See, my argument with that, I don't know if TNA ever held shows during this era that I'm going to talk about in a moment here in Oklahoma. But if Tessa Blanchard could be Impact World Champion, she beat Sami Callihan, a male, for it. Nyla Rose wrestling other women, to me, is like, what are we making a big deal out of? Now, like I said, I don't know if they had a show in Oklahoma at said time during that era.
Well, again, it's the actual the biggest aspect is it's the thing that they have the bylaws that men and women shouldn't wrestle one another in the state of Oklahoma. So wherever they had that match is a different scenario. If they didn't do that match in Oklahoma, then it's kind of obsolete. Now the other thing is that the big thing that Oklahoma's saying was she was in her application to wrestle or whatever for the commission, whatever they do. I don't know all the details of how, but I know there's a commission. You got to fill out paperwork. She stated she was a female, but she's transgender. She's originally hate all this shit.
Well, I mean, she said if this is all in her paperwork, and if she was honest from point A to point B to point C, again, what are they tripping off of?
Well, she put female on there, which is to them not being honest. Because their values are based their aspects on based on what you were born with, not what you have become, and so it's a sticky thing without getting into the political aspect of it. It sucks.
But how do you talk about it without getting into the politics?
I know. I mean, to me, it's like let her. Again, I have nothing against Nyla. I have nothing against Nyla Rose. I mean, she's not one of my favorite people in the wrestling ring. I don't think
go on air and say there was a time I was against Nyla Rose. However, I got to know her through outside of AEW, through interviews, through things of that nature, and I have she changed my mind. Now, not all people are going to be able to do that, but Nyla Rose is someone I can get behind.
I have nothing against her. I just haven't seen anything from her that's really excited me, and that may be part of the booking in AEW. There's just nothing there that's really done anything.
But you blame them. She's tremendous talent, great, great presence, but not booked properly.
If they would let her real personality into her character more, she would be more over, I guarantee you.
All right. The other aspect I think we can take into pro wrestling as we see it. We know this is all stage and acting, and so I mean, it's kind of like who cares who wrestles who? It's all predetermined, and these people are taking care of one another. Now, if this was real official wrestling, and of course they have wrestling where I've seen younger boys wrestling younger girls, and I see it now. I mean, girls are getting into wrestling, so that dynamic changing too. But I can see more of the counterproductive if you have boys that are training to be wrestlers, wrestling women, and then one boy changes over and says, "No, I'm a girl." I can understand maybe a little more that, he may be a little stronger than normal girls or whatever you want to regulate with. And again, it's just one of those weird stuff. And I'm like, if you're not hurting anybody, go do whatever you want. If you're happy being whoever you want, go be who you want. As long as you're not affecting other people or making other people's lives miserable in some form or another, just go be happy. If a guy wants to be a girl and he still wants to wrestle, cool. I may not understand all the aspects behind all of that, but it's like, that's too much. I mean, back in our day, this is how we lived. We were like, back in our day when we were in high school, oh, cool, whatever. We didn't give a hoot. We didn't care who you identified with or where you identified, and we still really don't. It's just some of it sometimes like, okay, you don't need to cram it down my throat. It's just like, I'm living my life. I'm doing my thing. You go do your thing, I go do my thing, and we all be cool. But we've gotten so far away from that. But again, this is a hot mess, and I think the only thing I'm really trying to say is we can't just jump on a whole state. And it's not the whole state of Oklahoma. It's the commission, it's legislation, and all people can do is get out there and help create awareness and try to get the regulations changed. And again, Tony Khan wouldn't have all this controversy if he wouldn't have let it happen or would have, done the right thing, whatever that may have been in that situation, whether it was not have her wrestle in the state of Oklahoma because it's against their guidelines or regulations, or at least make sure they knew the truth. I don't know what the right quote-unquote thing, but again, for me, it falls on Tony Khan.
Now, let's also tell the audience why you have such a passion. I mean, you kind of did in the beginning.
Well, I am from Oklahoma, so yeah, don't.
So,
yes, I'm an Okie.
I'm personally attacked, and I understand why.
Well, people say F Oklahoma because it's like, this rule and regulation. I'm like, okay, hold on. Now, remember, there's people who live there.
Pump those brakes.
Like, it's not the people who live there who are making these rules. Now, it may be a legislation thing that people need a right to vote and make changes, but again, you can't say, screw a whole state. And yes, I'm in Oklahoma, so I'm going to get a little defensive when you come at Oklahoma like that. Like, hold on. It'd be like me saying F Stockton.
Well,
you,
yes. That would be me going, Stockton sucks. Stockton sucks.
Well, it depends on
the
what
only
day of the
people who
week
say
it is.
that are people who don't go out into the community.
Yeah.
We all have our regional areas.
Starbucks does not count.
I like Starbucks.
He wasn't trashing on Starbucks. He's just saying if you live in a city and only go to Starbucks and then say your city sucks, that doesn't count as knowing your city.
I moved.
I think this is more Miguel's stream of thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say I moved there from the Bay Area at a very young age, and I watched that city grow and become what it is. It's all good.
Well, at a very young age, I got pulled from Oklahoma to Stockton. So I mean, you want to talk about a cultural change? I mean, at least you guys,
right?
At least you guys had it a little easier. The Bay Area, Stockton are not, that vastly different in some aspects. I'm sure there was some differences.
But bro, when I came to Stockton, it was still 80%. Like I want to say 60% fields. When I moved to Stockton,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's we won't get into that, but yeah, when I moved to Stockton from Oklahoma, it was a whole different world of things, and of course, I lived on every corner of Stockton because we kept bouncing around a lot till later years. So yes,
yeah, totally.
And then we found high school, and then the whole world changed. Let me tell you, the adventures there. That could be a whole podcast.
And the world was never the same again.
Yes, and there's a whole podcast there waiting. There's stories. There's stories there that we could tell, and stories. I mean, I don't know. I think me and Mr. Clarke.
No, they're not good for air.
Well, I mean, we can keep them good on air. I mean, we don't have to get into the deep details, but I mean, me and Mr. Clarke could probably talk for endless hours about just the miles we walked in Stockton.
What Big Tyme is saying is we exemplified that one song. And I would walk 500
miles.
I would walk 500 more.
I think we walked to each end of Stockton. Let alone then when we got into the ability to ride the bus and went many places on the bus, and then when when we had transportation and went and did other things. I mean, hell, we could tell a whole story about putting, 9 people in a Ford Probe and going to Walmart and playing tag. And if you don't know what a Ford Probe is, it's a hatchback that's more of a 5-seater. But we had, I believe it was 9 people in that thing and went and played tag at Walmart. And everybody else gets kicked out and freaks out. Me and Mr. Carter like leave. Oh, okay, cool. Everybody, oh, we almost got in trouble. Like, no, you didn't. They just told you to leave. Like, why is it so complicated? When they're like,
well, plus those other people were not smart enough to see, oh, there's associates around. Maybe we shouldn't run in that area.
why were they running through the store anyway?
I went to Walmart and played hide and seek. I mean, come on.
Well, that's what we did. We went on a group field trip of 9 people, and I know we've gotten way off wrestling. We'll get back to it. Thank you for, staying with us and enjoying the journey. It's always fun because you never know what's going to come in. I know we rode up 9 deep into Walmart in a Ford Probe. I'm not going to say how many people we had in the hatchback part of the car, but yeah, and we went in there and we played tag. Now, me and Mr. Clarke have always seemed to be the more sensible ones. For whatever reason, our associates that we connect with are usually the ones that are like, they go into full panic mode, and me and Mr. Clarke are just like, cool, whatever. Like, what are you freaking out about?
I didn't know what the possibilities were of what could happen.
Well, we knew. We knew, okay. I think we tried to tell them, if they tell you to leave, you leave. It's like, don't,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't make it worse. I mean, I can tell you the time I did school with a group. I think it's the only time Mr. Clarke didn't go with me, but I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, 7 of us, and we were walking down Alexandria, and we got to the footbridge, and Lincoln Security pulls up next to us, go, "Where are you going?" And I just casually walked up, put my arms down on them, and some of us go over here to Brookside, some of us go over here to the day school, and they're like, okay. But everybody else stayed around me. He's like, they're all like afraid they're about to get busted. I'm like, what?
This ain't cops. You're not going to get arrested.
I got picked up walking walking back to school for doing that. That's when I got busted, walking back to school to say I was there.
How'd you do that? Me and Mr. Clarke were the most notorious. We'd meet in the morning, leave, come back at lunch, visit with everybody, leave again, and then come back at the end of the day for some dumb reason sometimes.
Well, I had to go back because I was getting picked up. So
we did that. I mean, we went back. We never got caught. How did you get caught?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not that we didn't get caught. We didn't get caught by them. We got caught by my mom.
Well, that's a whole different story. And those are great stories because those are the most priceless moments in life at times. Because it'd just be like, I can remember I was sitting there eating the mac and cheese you made. We were just sitting there watching TV, and that door opens, and we look at each other. We look at the door, and we're like, yeah.
Damn.
Oh.
I know that's what you're doing here, but you're going to ask the same question, aren't you? Hi, Mom. Oh, Lord.
You're home early. Yeah. Cool. It was a holiday. It was called Go Home and Clean Your House for Your Parents' Holiday. And I'm going to get right on that right now. Oh, okay, we got to get back to wrestling because I'm sure people are like, what? All right. But yes, no, I think we could sit and tell stories for a long period of time. It'd be fun. Tony Khan, the only man that I think can justify his bad book. He justifies everything else in this world. Oh, what a guy. The CM Punk thing copped the rating, and then this last Dynamite just back down in the toilet. And Tony Khan's still trying to sell this at WB. Warner Brothers Discovery is so happy with him, and he's doing great things and putting on the best wrestling show, and everybody else is wrong, and the fandom is just, it's insane. And I'm just like, your ratings are showing what you're doing. You the 3 biggest names of professional wrestling, your 3 biggest signings are not...
Warner Brothers loves me.
It's not changing anything. And then, of course, it looks like Tony's turning on the fans. I mean, with this last media call, he just, I know I said it, but it definitely feels like he's wanting to become the redacted of the future. I mean, he used to be the opposite. Now he's becoming it. And I'm just like, when are we going to see Tony Khan as an on-screen character, as this heel boss?
Stop giving him an idea. You're going to put that out there and watch it happen tonight.
He needs.
I don't know if he can mess it up any more than he's already been messing it up. So
I'm sorry, if you watch Dynamite when they had the moment where they cut the video footage of FTR versus Young Bucks telling their history, and the Young Bucks are standing there with Okada, and Okada looking stupid because he's just like, and the Young Bucks are sitting there running their mouth, and then Tony Khan even was like, yeah, okay, these are my friends. I'm on TV with my friends. Ah! I'm like, no, Boots, not your friends. I feel like sometimes I just look at the tampon bucks and want to go, they're just using you, Tony, for your money.
Tampon bucks.
Your thoughts, gentlemen?
the only thing I can say is the tampon bucks super flop party.
Now, I know Marty hasn't been banned by the tampon bucks. Mr. Z, what's your status with the tampon
No,
bucks?
not yet. I'm still trying.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I just, bad optically. And then he goes on these media calls and he oversells this stuff. It's just like, oh, look at us. We're doing great. And Dynasty is going to be amazing. And Dynasty, I don't know if a lot of people are interested in Dynasty. And how many pay-per-views can Tony Khan really hold down at $50, $60 a pop? And here's the other aspect of it. I mean, we can put all these great matches on the card. And the in-ring stuff is going to be great. Yes, I get that. The in-ring work is separate from the aspects of,
Storytelling.
Yes.
Building.
But I mean, how many people are really interested in paying for this show? And then it's 9 matches on the main show, 3 matches on the pre-show, on 0 hour. I mean, how many people are really excited to sit there and watch all of this? When even WWE has realized on their B shows, on their second-rated shows, that 5-6 matches is good enough. Even WrestleMania for 2 nights. Total of 12 matches, but it was broken up with 6 matches per night. So, I mean, it's like 9 matches plus 3 on a 0 hour. It's just like, it seems excessive. And some of these matches are not even necessarily, ready for a pay-per-view or even necessary. I mean, let's look at 0 hour. I mean, we have Trent Beretta versus Matt Sydal. How's this fix anything with the Trent Beretta storyline of him going heel? And why is he fighting Matt Sydal, who's the biggest jobber in AEW? I mean, why is this not just being done on Dynamite?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's a slow burn, maybe, for if they're going to do something, even if it's just low balling, they're going to do something with Beretta. It's gives him something to do for the time being. It's what I'm assuming.
And even Orange Cassidy's fallen off, and he's teaming with Shibata against Shane Taylor Promotions on the 0 hour, and you're kind of like, you can love Orange Cassidy, but were you really excited? Shane Taylor Productions hasn't really been presented. All of a sudden, like the last week, they've been presented as something, but it's still like, you know? And then, of course, Mr. 0 Hour himself, Jay White's going to be on the card. So you're taking your trios tag and your 6-man tag titles and saying they're not important by putting them on the 0 hour card. And then you have Hook defending the FTW title against Chris Jericho. A match that was just like turned out to be something that even the storyline behind it. This hasn't even had a long enough time to cook.
He's got to be on the card. I need to be on this card.
Well, Jericho, Jay White's
everybody.
Jay White's Mr. 0 hour. Then Jericho must be Mr. AEW pay-per-view because I think he's been on every AEW pay-per-view since the beginning of time. And then you have the Rated R Chicken Hawks, the Rated R Chicken Kings, the Rated R whatever, or the Rated Chicken Hawk Kings, blah, 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 against the House of Black, which none of it makes sense. Why is Adam Copeland the only one not defending his belt on this show when everybody else's belts are on the line?
That's a good point.
Julia Hart, Will Nightingale, at least they've given us some reason, some value to that. It's the payout that I think is destroying this match more than anything. We just kind of see where this is going. If Will Nightingale wins the TBS title, and then immediately next month that Double or Nothing drops the title to
Mercedes
Moné, does that really help anything with Will Nightingale? Now, in-ring work, it'll be fine, but I'm just like in the storytelling and the visual aspects. I want people to understand, I'm not attacking some of these people for what they do in the ring. there's two guys I attack for what they do in the ring. It's the same stupid shit, but we'll get to that another time, another place. But Julia Hart and Will Nightingale. Yes, Will Nightingale, Julia Hart in the ring will be great. Julia Hart or Will Nightingale and Mercedes Moné will be a great match in the ring. But the story here, you just say, blah. You're rehashing the New Japan storyline to get Mercedes Moné over, but you're not going to even put her in the ring, and she's going to get a title shot in her first match. Why? Then you got Pac and Okada.
Monet.
You have Pac and Okada, and I know Mr. Z has to feel some way about Okada, and that mother trucker comes out in white at a pay-per-view. You'll be hearing me after the pay-per-view.
I've written him off. Well, I don't even talk about the change maker. I'm done. He's with the Tampon Bucks. I don't even want to even talk about him. Pac, I hope you beat the living out of him.
He's not. You know this. Pac's going to be fed to him.
Yeah.
I wish he was. It'd be a lot better.
Yeah. And then why do we have Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly already? I mean, we barely had that turn, and now we're going to jump into this match. It's like, can you not let things build and burn? Like, you didn't need this match right now. And of course, the Undisputed Kingdom feels like the biggest joke in professional wrestling right now. I mean, they're just, who cares?
But
Tony Storm
Wardlow to back him up.
Yeah, so Wardlow can come out and be Wardlow.
Thunder Rosa versus Tony Storm, decent match, but Thunder Rosa's losing. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, I think it's in-ring work. It'll be great. It'll be a magical match if you just go on the in-ring work. I get it. You're all about the in-ring work, and you just want wrestling, then this is going to be a really, really good match.
Mm-hmm.
Translation, if you're a New Japan fan.
Yes! Yes!
But the build to this has been crap, and they really haven't built to it. They just show us video packages and tell us this little story. People more focus on Will Ospreay and his comments to see Triple H. Which is like, why are you even worried about Triple H? Why are we still talking about a comment Triple H made and said about people that don't want to come into WWE and do the WWE grind? It didn't have anything to do with Ospreay himself. Ospreay took that shoe and decided that it fitted and ran with that triumphant trophy to be like, I will be the one to stand up for the grind. And people could shut their freaking mouth. Flying back and forth is not about a grind. That is a choice. If you want to live over there and you want to fly back and forth, mad respect that you take that flight. I've been on a 16, 18-hour flight overseas. It was miserable. It sucked. I get it. Flying is not necessarily fun when you've got to be on a plane for a long period of time. But that doesn't go into what you're doing to the grind. Don't tell me, oh, I'm grinding because I'm flying back and forth every week. No, you're doing that because you chose to, because you chose that it's the lifestyle you want. And I'm not docking anybody. That's the lifestyle you want. I'm not docking Ospreay because that's how he wants to live. That's the choice he made. He chose AEW because it gave him that flexibility of doing that. That's fine. But that's not freaking grinding to me, flying back and forth. That was part of the choice you made to take the schedule you got.
Every professional wrestler grinds, whether it's by car, by airplane, it don't matter. To make every town, to make every booking, it's like that's not special. Is what I feel like your message is.
Yes, that's more what I'm trying to say. Like, I just don't see it like, I say grind because he says that's part of his grind. I'm like, right. Everybody's doing that. You'd be doing that in WWE. You'd be traveling all around all the time. You'd be doing that in TNA. Absolutely. You're gonna do that in New Japan. You got to travel. I mean, it's like, don't tell me because you fly over every week that makes you greater. And there's other people who are trying to back that up with other people. It's like, oh, these people do all this. They fly back and forth. You don't understand what it means. I'm like, but all these wrestlers are traveling. Mm-hmm. Not as long, but it's still like, hey, they're doing that, and part of that is the other aspect is to it. How much of that was a personal choice? That's the schedule he chose. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I went back and watched his promo during the press conference against Kenny Omega, post-pandemic, when they finally started getting fans there. It was finally getting that setting. And I want to say his promo he cut about the grind was kind of reminiscent of what he said with Kenny Omega, of what he's done in New Japan, and it got over well. What he did here was low, the lowest hanging fruit, and did not make any sense. So of
Well,
course,
but
it
he
didn't
was.
get over well.
The difference with that was Kenny Omega was calling him out because they were having a match. They were having a match. They were creating a story, and Kenny Omega directly attacked him about the grind and what had he really done for the professional wrestling business. And so when Ospreay cut that promo and came out serious and was pissed off, he had every right to be that vehement and mad at Kenny Omega. Here, Triple H didn't directly point at him. And the fact of the matter, here's the big key. When Ospreay shot the promo, or made the statement that he shot about Triple H, or Paul Levesque, whatever we want to call him, he also put in the key word that was in that whole statement was, I heard rumors. Rumors. So, I mean, you're hearing rumors. You're not even coming out going, oh, I heard somebody say that I don't want to do the grind. No, you're saying, I heard rumors. So, in a nonchalant way,
you sound like a boot.
And that's my fact. If he wouldn't have said the rumors, I mean, he shouldn't have said what he said anyways, because it was like, you put more respect on what Triple H has done at this point. And that's an old joke that's done and run in the corner. But, I mean, it's the fact of the matter, it's like rumors. So I'm like, you're letting all the internet, all the Twitter feed, all these people that are coming at you go, oh, Triple H is talking about you, get you that upset and riled up. And I'm just like, and then he's still just going on and on about trying to prove that he's grinding. It's just like, go do it. Don't tell me about it. You're supposed to be the man about action, not the man who's out here.
Show out. Stop talking.
I'm like,
isn't this also proof that AEW needs WWE more than WWE needs, well, almost anyone?
Yeah.
AEW has no reflection or any reflection. It doesn't. WWE ain't losing sleep over AEW. They're looking over there going, okay.
I bet you they have it on in the background.
Are they watching it? Yes. I mean, they have it on in the background. They're checking out, seeing what they're doing to see if they're going to do anything. I would even bet that Triple H would love if AEW actually became to a level of feeling like they were competition.
Yeah, because it makes him
do
do
a little
better.
Fire at the feet. It makes you want to do more.
Exactly. But he looks over there going, what is this? What is this joke? I mean, Mercedes Moné.
Talking about. Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish it. Oh, well, okay. Real quick. We talk about AEW and how bad it's been going, how bad they're doing. Did anybody actually watch Rampage and see the injury during a match?
I fell asleep before Rampage came on because I was watching Rebellion.
Oh, there was
Yuka Sakazaki was trying to motion that she got injured during her match, and the referee completely blew it off. Didn't catch it.
We've seen that before on AEW TV. Look at what happened to Moxley. And then they let him do the finish maneuver again. And we know that Punk's talked about the difference in the medical. Now, Tony Khan did come out and say, oh, I think we covered Punk's medical expenses, and if we didn't, then, I'd be happy to reimburse him. But we've seen AEW be more about, I mean, come on, look at Daniel Bryan with this injury with his eye, and they still let him go out there with a patch and wrestle. And one key factor about Punk said is they're protecting him from himself. AEW doesn't care. Tony Khan doesn't care. He wants to pay these people and see these great wrestling matches, but he doesn't care the wear and tear it's putting on these men's bodies or how many times they're going to get injured. Why is AEW's injury rate higher than WWE's? Why has the WWE gotten better about making sure? Now, I know a lot of people are going to go, well, Seth Rollins wrestled 2 nights and he just had his knee surgery. Well, they also didn't let him wrestle up until then. So, I mean, they did protect Seth Rollins from any extra, and we can see that. But Tony Khan, I mean, you can love Bryan Danielson, and I do, and I appreciate everything he's brought to this business, but should he really been out there fighting that much with his eye? And then having them go after his eye in a storyline to just...
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I was gonna defend this a little bit because yes, there is a huge language barrier, but there should be there. But also, they have a mutual signal to let them know, hey, I'm hurt. So to stop.
Anyways, before we get in
with the match,
before we get into the predictions for Dynasty, I know we go a little bit over the matches, but we didn't really talk about what we see coming. Mr. Z, the floor is yours. What is going on in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling? What do you have coming up for Tuesday? Other than the fact that you have a brand new intro screen that you're going to have for this week's Rebound podcast. You definitely have a new look. And as you can see, we are trying to adapt and grow. We're trying to make our brand look better. So if you guys are here later and like any of the new changes, let us know what you think of the changes that we're trying to make and implement on this brand and on this channel, because we're here to be contenders, not pretenders. And so, yeah, we're trying to up that game a little bit more each and every week. Mr. Z, go ahead.
Tuesday, we are going to talk about the road to wrestling Dontaku. Coming off of everything that's just happened recently, we're just building up to find out who's our next challenger for Jon Moxley. That's the point we're at right now. The first 2 nights of Wrestling Dontaku.
Pause. We already have the next challenger. This week on Dynamite, Powerhouse Hobbs is the next contender for the New Japan Pro Wrestling title. As announced on Collision, because Don Callis had New Japan or whoever wrapped around his finger, because 6 years ago he did whatever he did and I didn't really care. But yeah, now he's gotten Powerhouse Hobbs a title match. So you already have a new contender.
Yes, but we're talking about now in New Japan, not on AEW.
I know. I just had it.
I am wearing his shirt. Yes, it is our IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. But
not saying Moxley doesn't deserve it.
Tony Khan. Somebody shake that boy for change. But no, with extensive tag team matches, but the highlight match that I'm looking forward to is on night 2 of Road to Dontaku. We're going to have LIJ of Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Yota Tsuji, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito against Bullet Club War Dogs, Gato, Drilla Mahoney, Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, and David Finlay.
Okay.
I'm loving these stable matches. It's beautiful. But that's what we'll talk about on Tuesday, folks. And hopefully I won't go on another rant on Tony Khan.
Well, maybe not this Tuesday, but by next Tuesday, you may or may not have a reason, because that means
after Dynamite
happened, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast is every Tuesday, so look out for that. It's going to have a brand new opening, at least. A little bit of a new layout. We're trying to work on things, trying to up the game, trying to bring it all to a different level.
Make it look pretty.
Mr. Clarke, is there anything from the Clarke report, from the Clarke corner, the Clarke from the Yeeter of Worlds? Do you have a yeet? Do you have a yeet break? Is it a breaking yeeting?
This is what we're gonna try to call it now.
The breaking yeet?
Unfortunately, outside of my excitement for TNA Rebellion, there really isn't much that I've kind of seen out in the news cycle that either we haven't talked about during this week or that we haven't talked about today.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I think we're all getting ready for Dynasty, and then we'll be a week. No, because see here. We have Dynasty today, and then next Saturday we have Backlash, gentlemen.
That's gonna be fun.
That'll be really fun.
Tonight we have Dynasty, and a week from Saturday, so we're going to get the draft. The draft starts on Friday into on Monday, and then that's following Saturday, May 4th. Oh, that's going to be a great day. May the 4th be with you day. It's going to be the same day as Backlash. That should be fun and entertaining. So we're going to get that. And then we'll be doing so next Sunday we'll be doing a prediction show for Backlash. Make sure you come back next week for the weekly
Shockmaster mask.
Well, weren't you supposed to get one at one point?
I'm still working on it, but dang it, I wish I had it this time.
Well, you've got over a week to do it.
So the next non-WWE event is New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence on May 11th.
After Backlash.
Yes, after Backlash.
Yes.
That's why I said next non-WWE event.
And then on May
Southern California.
And
May
then we
25th is the King and Queen of the Ring.
Yes, so we go. Backlash will be this Saturday, and then 2 weeks from now it'll be the King and the Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia on the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
And then Double or Nothing is shoved in there somewhere.
Day after, May 26th.
Woo! It's going to be a long weekend at the end of that weekend. Luckily, that's a free weekend. Yeah, that's going to be a busy week. The 22nd, 23rd. The boy goes to Disney for his senior trip. He just did senior prom last night. And then the 25th, 26th, and then he graduates on the 31st. So luckily it's the weekend after that.
So apparently WWE is counter-programming AEW on the 26th, because also on the May 26th is NXT Battleground.
That should be some good stuff. Should be interesting. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to be super busy around here, and we don't got nothing on the Clarke report. We got New Japan covered. Not a whole lot of talk here. Well, and then today also, I guess we can talk about Breaking GCW has an event going on. Joey Janela taking on Fuego del Sol at Breaking GCW.
I mean, it sounds like it would be a fun match, but I don't know if it's a big match. I'm a Fuego del Sol fan from his AEW days, so it's like,
Yeah.
it should be fun, but I don't know if that's a big deal or not. But then
I'm more-
I don't know
I'm more-
I don't know how he's been used
I
in
wanna-
GCW either.
I just want to know this though. Like, I haven't been much of a fan of Maki Ito, but she's been at a lot of GCW events as of late, and I'm starting to become more of a fan.
Well, and there's gonna be some independent matches or independent events coming up, hopefully in the area here soon that we are trying to associate with. So, if you're a local independent company within the Northern California Bay Area, we'd be happy to come out, set up a table and work with anybody, and even help promote your brand on the channel and talk about your event. We are just looking for somewhere where we can set up a table and establish our brand, and maybe interview fans, maybe interview some of the independent talent that is there to help them even grow. So if you're interested in that, always reach out to valuewrestling@gmail.com. Or you can hit any of us up at our Twitter. As you see, we do have our Twitter handles on the screen finally. So reach out, add us all on Twitter, get in the conversation, join the conversation. Gentlemen, I guess we should talk about Dynasty, because we're going to get off air here, sit down for a few hours, and then it's going to start 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here for us. We have 0 hour. It's going to be an hour and a half, and then lots of
And the main
TV
card.
time.
Let's go.
So, 0 hour. Matt Sydal versus Trent Beretta. I don't think this needs to be talked about. This is just a match that's been thrown on here. Trent Beretta needs to win this since they've turned him heel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's, I don't know what else to say about that. Orange Cassidy with Shibata, teaming up with Shibata to take on Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. I'm assuming they're probably going to let Shibata get his win back from the other night. Orange Cassidy
on 0 hour.
Yep.
Fall from grace. No longer the favorite toy.
Your thoughts, gentlemen?
I don't know if I can say that any better.
Are we getting Cassidy and Shibata or Shane Taylor promotions?
I still think OC and Shibata are going over.
Yeah.
All right. 0 hour. This Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles and the AEW Trios titles on the lines on 0 hour. Couldn't even make the main card, but that's because Mr. 0 hour himself, Jay Safety Scissors White, is teaming up with the Ass Boys. With the Ass Boys to take on the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Winner takes all the titles. I really don't know.
If you're smart, you let the Guns and Switchblade win. If you're smart.
I lean more that way, but I don't know.
See, I'm kind of like with y'all. I want Bullet Club Gold to win, but I think it's going to go to the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn.
Because it's on 0 hour, I feel it will. I feel it's going to go to the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass because it's on 0 hour. You're not going to make Jay White here. Jay White needs... Hopefully they lose and Jay White gets mad at the Guns and breaks off from them. Let's end Bullet Club Gold at this point because you have killed it, Tony. You have killed it. You have drowned it in misery. Jay White should be... He was just in the Continental Classic at the end. He was in the Continental Classic at the end of last year. He was having a world title match last year. Now where is he?
Mr. 0 hour.
And if you think that's bad enough, then we had to have Jericho and Hook for the FTW title. So even the FTW title, which isn't a recognized title, is being defended on the main card, while the trios titles and 6-man titles are on 0 hour. That says a lot to me. I don't know who wins here. The FTW title on the line. I hope it's Hook, but I'm scared they're going to let Jericho win this and have that title for a little bit so they can pull more out of the story, or I don't know. I'm really worried here.
Unfortunately, that wouldn't surprise me. But
Right,
I'm
why?
kind of like you. I really can't make an official call.
Right, we're not.
Because you can make the argument on either side.
Well, it should be Hook, but Hook didn't represent himself on Dynamite as didn't come off as the badass that he should have been coming into
Maybe he
this
doesn't
match.
have the killer instinct.
No, he didn't. Not even, get out of my ring. And I'm just like, he looked like an idiot. And Jericho here. And my thing is, I feel they're going to give this title to Jericho. It's going to hurt Hook's image. Hook should not be losing. But here's where Hook's fallen after facing Samoa Joe for the world title. He's playing with Chris Jericho. And I'm just like, this sucks. The match should be okay. This will not be one of the better matches on the card because Jericho just doesn't seem to be able to go. Yes, he can still pull off a lion tamer or some moves, but Jericho's just kind of... And Hook is still decent. He has a few moves, but I'm just like, let's get Hook out of AEW as fast as we can. Paul Levesque, please sign Hook to NXT.
I was going to say, Country Bikini, NXT.
Yeah.
This one is for everybody who hates life. And this is the one that I know. This one makes Miguel Z kind of sad. But we have the House of Black versus the Rated Chicken Kings. So Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King are going to take on Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe. And of course, Eddie Kingston's a never openweight champion, and Mark Briscoe is the Ring of Honor World Champion, and Adam Copeland is the AEW TNT Champion, which he's the only person not defending his title on the show that's an AEW title. I don't even know. I guess the baby faces win because it's the only thing that makes sense because the House of Black is being treated like garbage.
Who's winning tonight? My wife. She gets to see Eddie Kingston on TV again.
And how mighty have Eddie Kingston fallen, the winner of the Continental Classic in the end of last year, the first Continental Crown champion. And what has he done with any of it? He's lost all of his belts pretty much except one. And now it's being regulated to team up with the guy he lost the title to and playing back fiddle to Adam Copeland. Eddie Kingston, one of the best promo talkers, probably one of the best talents that are there, and he's being thrown in a match that makes no sense.
Which is why, if you want to see a good Eddie Kingston match, you watch New Japan.
Yes.
Because AEW does not know how to promote him worth anything.
Nope.
TBS title on the line, Julia Hart versus Will Nightingale. I'm assuming Will Nightingale.
Yeah.
Same here.
Mr. Z, please don't cry. The Continental Crown, the Continental Championship, will be on the line as the Continental Champion Okada faces Pac. So Soft Serve is going to win in a cheesy match. He comes out in white. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be here for the post-show review because that'll be the match I will go lit on. I will scorch earth Okada if he comes out. If he comes out in white, I'm sorry. Is he not Kazuchika Okada, one of the greatest New Japan Pro Wrestling champions, one of the greatest one of the greatest IWGP championships. If he comes out in that white shit for his intro on a pay-per-view. Now, I know Mr. Clarke tried to get on me like, it's his interest isn't bad. The gear I get, I've tried to stay calm, but I'm like, he needs to come out in different gear for a pay-per-view. And I know Mr. Clarke can't really argue with me on that one, that it needs to be different.
I'm not arguing that one either, because I've seen it on a pay-per-view. I've seen his wrestle.
Well, all you got to do is watch Okada enter at a New Japan Pro Wrestling event, and you're just like, this is awesome. And you're just excited to see what this man's going to do. He comes out on AEW TV, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Tell me when I'm telling lies. So I promise you, if he comes out wearing that white shit, you guys will know. I mean, I can see, I know Mr. Clarke and Mr. Z is shoot. If he comes out and he's in white, they're both going to be like, oh shit.
They're going to hear about it on X, and then they're going to hear about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
The tag team ladder match for the titles, the vacated titles. Team Tampon Bucks versus FTR. Fuck this match.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
But here's what I will say out of this. My brain says the Tampon Bucks, just the way they set up the story, but my heart is with FTR.
FTR should win it, but it's not going to happen because you're probably going to have Jack Perry come in and help interfere so the scapegoat come back, and he's freaking... It doesn't make sense. You can't bring the scapegoat into AEW because he was the scapegoat for AEW.
Mhm.
Tony Khan made him the scapegoat. Now he's going to come crawling back to AEW even after he...
If they wanted to, they could make that make sense.
But Tony Khan is...
Anything makes sense.
The only way they can make that make sense is they have to have the EVPs even, like, disassociate from Tony Khan. They have to make the EVPs bring him back and try to bring him in the fold and baby him like, oh, you're not the scapegoat. It's not us who's blaming you. It's Tony. And that's going to make Tony an Tony's got... It's this close. He's this damn close to being an on-screen character whether he wants to or not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
FTR should be winning this, but I think it's the Young Bucks, and I also think we're going to get the Motor City Machine Guns showing up at the end of this match.
At this point, I'm not even going to be mad about it if they do, because you know what? They're taking care of business. They're making their money. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
At least when they do get an opportunity, we know they're going to make the best out of it. So that's like, you have to be happy for what could be good about it.
No, I mean, it is.
We already bashed Tony Khan. We already bashed, his Powder Smith booking as it is.
And I'm sure we're going to be bashing it by the time this event's over, so it's all good.
Absolutely.
International titles on the line. Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Roderick Strong, because Mr. Clarke died. Mr. Clarke, come back.
No! Mr. Clarke!
What happened? Did he crash and burn? Did he jump? What? You were gone.
Camera fell.
Oh, okay. Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Roderick Strong's going to win because, I mean, you know what? What else? This is Kyle O'Reilly. I don't know. Kyle O'Reilly's still looking like he escaped from the halfway home or from the mental asylum here. I don't care about this match anymore.
This is one of those build sucks. I think it's going to be good in ring because I like both guys in ring at least when given the opportunity to shine. So,
haven't we seen that match?
But that's also going based off of long time Ring of Honor watching, NXT watching.
Haven't we seen this match in Ring of Honor and NXT anyway? So I mean,
I believe so, but my memory isn't that great.
Now, Mr. Clarke's favorite match of the night. The AEW Women's title on the line. Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa. Toni Storm.
Just don't yeet yourself.
You know what, dude?
He would yeet himself. If Thunder Rosa were to win, he'd probably yeet himself.
I will give you this. If Thunder Rosa, by some miracle of God, I will, in our review show, give you that word.
All right. Yeah, you hear, folks. Thunder Rosa needs to pull the win off tonight, folks.
He's not. That's the only reason.
I know.
There's no storyline here to make it even make sense to me. She's being fed to Toni Storm. Toni Storm's going to move back to Deonna Purrazzo. Yay. Now back to Mr. Z. Mr. Z's other favorite match of the night. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. This will be good in-ring work. I'm sure Ospreay's going to win. Ospreay's going to win because Bryan Danielson's on his ending tour, so there's no reason for Bryan Danielson to win here. This will help Ospreay feel like the greatest wrestler in the world. Does it feel like the most important match? Not necessarily. But cool, Ospreay can...
My problem, here's my only issue with that. Ospreay cannot be called the greatest pro wrestler out there because Danielson has given that blessing to one ZSJ, Zack Sabre Jr.
Well,
there's WWE marketing gives a shit about that.
Yeah.
So what happens when you have Ospreay beat Bryan Danielson in that Forbidden Door? We get Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr.
It'd be a hell of a match.
So this is going to be a good in-ring match for the pure wrestling fans. The storyline building to this is kind of shattered. Ospreay is probably going to run through. Ospreay's kind of running through the Blackpool Combat Club. The Blackpool Combat Club wants to run through the Don Callis family. We don't know where Ospreay still stands with all this. I have a feeling we're going to get Ospreay versus Jon Moxley possibly for the IWGP title here at some point.
I actually wouldn't be mad at that. And I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Could we see Ospreay as the IWGP champion taking on whoever the AEW World Champion is at All In for both titles?
Maybe.
Is Ospreay going to be considered the new belt collector? So once they get Omega back, then they're going to do Omega versus Ospreay. Anyway, speaking of the AEW World Title, Joe is going to defend it against Swerve Strickland. This should be Swerve's win, but Tony Khan's crapped all over it, so it won't be the big moment that Swerve should be getting it, because this could be AEW's WrestleMania moment. I mean, Swerve has been built into that same position as Cody, but it's been crapped on over the last few months.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Despite the powder sniff booking, I'm still rooting for Swerve. That's because he's got himself over with me.
I think Swerve's going to win. I think the crowning moment's not going to be as big as it should feel. I mean, I think it's kind of like we all expected, but do you feel the same way about Swerve that you felt about Cody winning it? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's also different. 2+ years,
I know, but Swerve has worked his ass off 2+ years to get here and deserves this moment. And it should feel AEW, Tony Khan should have booked it to feel just that important. But because of stupid crap like a tag team match that's crap and garbage and should just be ripped off this card, where they had to use footage of another wrestler that's not even their company to get a ratings pop. When you have, your biggest signing of the free agent in Will Ospreay taking pop shots at Triple H, and people are just like, okay, if that's what you guys want to do. If AEW wants to worry so much about WWE instead of AEW, and Tony Khan wants to go off on the fans.
Specifically.
And Tony Khan wants to confess that they're at war with everybody. It's war. We all got to fight one another. You ain't fighting nobody. For the first time in your career last night, you fought against TNA. That was probably the best fight you could have gotten into. You guys were on equal ground.
You and I have been calling that. AEW's only real competition is TNA.
I know that.
Nowhere near WWE.
That's why I said last night's the only time that I think AEW really felt competition or gave competition was going their 3 hours against a TNA pay-per-view. And that's the closest that Tony Khan's going to know about any of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't know.
And anybody who thinks the people who got released from WWE are going to show up at a AEW pay-per-view tonight, they have a 90-day compete clause. So if they're in the crowd, cool. But they got a 90-day compete clause.
Okay, well, first of all, 90-day complete clause. And on top of that, they have a bloated roster that they don't use, that people they already have.
Yes, but Tony Khan likes to buy people that have a name. So, I mean, as much as I don't want to see Jinder Mahal in AEW, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan went out there and got Jinder Mahal.
That would be funny as heck, though.
After all that mess, that'd be great.
Well, I guess Jinder can find out what a hook's all about then, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost 1:15 here in the Pacific Standard Time. We got a little more than 2 hours at this point before we got to sit down for Dynasty. So let's wrap this up. Let's go eat some food, get our grub on, get ourselves situated so we can sit through this. I know Mr. Clarke's got to get his caffeine lined up and get ready to go.
Yeah.
Mr. Z's got to figure out what drink he's going to keep him going, and yeah.
I got Kool-Aid right now. This works.
So we'll see how it goes, but we'll be back here after your Dynasty. I don't know if I've called it Dynamite. It's probably bad that you have Dynasty and Dynamite. But anyways, like I said the other day, you can't spell Dynasty without nasty. So I wonder what that says.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Tony, that's nasty. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here. We thank you for joining us. If you're watching this later, feel free to jump in the comments. Give us what you think about everything. Tell us what you think of the new layout as we move forward. If you're watching this later, thank you. Make sure you give this a thumbs up. Let's get up there. We're at 376, gentlemen, 376 subscribers. We keep moving forward little by little. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there because we can and we will. Anyways, we will be, all three of us will be back. Go ahead, Mr. Clarke.
Just remember, folks, we love you.
Mr. Clarke can kind of speak for himself on some of that. But
Hey, love is a good thing. I didn't say how we love you.
we will all three be back for your Dynasty post-show review. We'll break down everything that happened on Dynasty. We'll talk about it. It should be a hell of a conversation, so you might want to be here to hear about it. Then me and Mr. Clarke will be here tomorrow for your Monday Night Raw post-show review. Tuesdays, you have Mr. Miguel Z and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast. I will be back with the Dynamite review show until they just... Yeah, and then Thursdays we have the weekend preview, which covers everything from wrestling from that Thursday to the next Wednesday. Friday, me and Mr. Clarke will be back here with SmackDown, and then we do it all over again when we come back next Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with your weekly Roundup podcast. At least we have one more weekend of a break before all the hits the fan and May kicks in and the gears start going and the world starts moving. Now, again, we are still trying to work with certain people for interviews. That is still in the works. And again, we're looking for any independent wrestlers or independent local federations that would like us to come out, help promote them, help promote us. We'd like to set up a table and just talk to the fans, maybe get to know some wrestlers, put them on, interview them briefly, and help build the podcast, help build a brand. And that is, if you have a card coming up and you want us to come out, we will happy to sell your card right here. We'll run the card down, talk about it. Where you're out here trying to work. So reach out to any one of us at any time. We're trying to diligently to grow this brand and get into different aspects. We really want to get into the local independent scene here in California. We're really interested in that. So hopefully that'll come together soon. But we're growing, and within the next shortly here, guys. I mean, once we hit the 500 and we get, I think, 3,000 hours watch time, we're going to really be able to open the doors to memberships, super chats, and other things. We're getting really close to possibly be debuting a free Patreon page. I know we want to bring, I know Mr. Clarke's really more of a writer, so I know he wants to bring more of a newsletter type of thing to Value Wrestling. So there's a lot of things we're working on that we're getting excited about. We want to see you all get excited about and be a part of. So, it's not just what you see here on the channel. There's a lot of other things that are working on the background. And as soon as we hit those mile markers, man, we got some merchandise laid out. I mean, can we not wait to see a Tampon Buck shirt? Hashtag Tampon Buck shirt could be something that could be a hot sell right here for the Value Wrestling. But we're working on that. So stay with us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell for notifications. Become part of the Value Wrestling family. We will see you here later today for your Dynasty post-show review. So, gentlemen, say goodbye for now.
See you tonight, folks.